received the annual report. Hopefully you got that by email this afternoon. And we'll deal with that under new business. So with that, a motion to adopt the agenda.
Second.
On adoption, all those in favor? Motion's carried. All right, so we'll move to delegations. First off, we have John Gower here regarding 337 Church Street for the rezoning application. So John, there you are. So if whoever's at the podium there can step back. Good to hear there.
All cake on your cake.
Welcome, Mr. Gower and Fred, to present on this application, or are you here just to answer any questions?
Okay, thank you very much. I would like to introduce first Marty Anderson, who is my client and the proponent for this project, and just give a brief bit of background. Marty approached me early this year to explore building a coach house in the back of our yard on Church Street. And this was to be modeled after one that had been successfully built between Buena Vista and Comox Avenue last year. And we had a meeting to discuss the design, and then we, as I like to do before going forward, we went to the planning department to discuss the details of it. And this was a little bit different from the original coach house in that Marty would like to have an attached carport as part of the scheme, as well as a porch. And when we looked over the bylaws in the planning office that day, it seemed like there was latitude within the bylaw to do this, because the carport and the porch did not count within the 70 square meter allotment for the coach house itself. And the overall size was well under the minimum for an accessory building in that zone. So based on that assurance, we proceeded to come up with the scheme that you see before you. And this is the first time that it's had a public hearing. And I would like to invite Marty to speak to her reasons for the form that we have chosen for this building. And would you like to do that?
Sure. Thank you. My application for rezoning and development of a coach house is based on my long-term goal is to downsize into the coach house so that I can remain at the location as I age. My design is based on developing sensible living space with the attached carport to enhance safety and functionality of the home as I get older. Safety is paramount for senior citizens. Being able to safely access my vehicle, particularly during inclement weather such as snow, ice, and winter rainstorms, is a critical piece to enabling me to age in place. Parking my vehicle in a covered space will keep it dry during the winter storms, free of ice and snow. Falls for seniors is often the beginning of the end, starting with the increased immobility, progressing towards becoming housebound, and then eventually no other option but to move into a care facility. Restricting the carport to be included in the total square footage of 70 square meters is self-defeating, as this would reduce the coach house to a one-bedroom dwelling. This would not be reasonable nor practical for either myself or if I rented it to a couple or a couple with one child. My proposed design would provide a suitably sized dwelling for 2 to 3 people, as opposed to creating accommodation for only one person, a mere dent in the rental shortage crisis that we have in the Comox Valley. I believe my 70 square meter coach house plus a carport design aligns well with the interests of the town of Comox, which is to add a high-quality residential dwelling units with the capacity for a safe and sensible aging-in-place environment, and to increase density in the walkable core area of the town of Comox, as well as addressing the shortage of rental properties and supporting infill development as per the Comox official community plan. I've come before you with a coach house concept and design that I understand meets the current bylaw requirements. The carport is an integral part of the coach house. I'm optimistic that you will support my application as part of your work in creating a future that provides for safe and practical residential environments for the seniors, invalids, and disabled citizens of our community. In closing, I fully support and look forward to a public hearing. I think it's critical that we, the people, have the opportunity to have our input, as this is an excellent and very essential concept plan that's in its infancy as it develops and grows and takes shape. Let it reflect the needs let it reflect the needs that the community is facing, not cut it off at the knees with the types of limitations that the Comox staff is proposing and that I have addressed here today. Thank you.
All right, any questions from members of council for regards to that presentation?
I don't have a question. I like the design. I think it looks good. I totally get why you want an attached carport. Doesn't make sense to me to not, but we are just sending this on to a public hearing, so we will hear what the public has to say, but I think it's a good design. I like it.
Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Price.
A question for our planning staff. Is there no way that we could have a condition on the rezoning is approved to say that it's not, that the carport is kept open and not filled in, whether it's a covenant or in the agreement that we signed? Is there no way that we can guarantee that the concerns that you have don't transpire, that it gets covered up and becomes converted into the dwelling? Because a very good point, having a carport is very handy.
Okay, so these are more questions for the delegation. This time we will be considering the application a little bit later, so perhaps we can defer that question until later in the agenda.
Okay.
Any other questions for the delegation? Councillor Arnott?
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. And it does look nice. If you were to rent it out until you get to the point that you would like to live in it, would you be looking at renting it out on a monthly basis? Some of the feelings I get with what's happening in some of these secondary suites is people are going to Airbnb, whether right or wrong, it's going that way. And it is, and so they come and they say they want to do this, they want to help the youth in the community or provide other housing, but then we find out that they're now going to Airbnb, making a whole lot of money every day and taking away from the intent of what we really wanted to do and to provide this kind of housing. So what's your thoughts on that?
No, I don't like the idea of an Airbnb because it's essentially running a business.
Right.
With a lot of work. I'm in the real estate industry. I work at all kinds of hours. So, no, that would not be my intention. My intention would be to rent it out minimum 1 year on a lease agreement. Yeah, to help address, to give someone a home for an extended period of time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions for the delegation? Seeing none, thank you for your presentations. We will be considering this for first and second reading later in the meeting. So you can certainly stick around for that if you wish. Next delegation is Catherine Frank from the Comox First Nation regarding travel journeys. Catherine, welcome.
Hello, my name is Catherine Frank, and I'm the canoe coordinator for the Comox First Nation. On August 2nd, we are welcoming up to 80 canoes traveling from Oregon and Washington State, the West Coast, picking up canoes in Victoria, tribes all the way up to Comox. Canoes coming from the Lower Mainland, also traveling over to meet the tribal journeys in Duncan, Nanaimo, that area. So what's happening in Tribal Journeys is a journey for many nations who want to sort of go back to ocean-going canoes and honoring our culture and honoring our history. So it's kind of the idea, networking, friendships, memories, health, drug and alcohol-free event. The canoes will be gathering on August the 5th in Campbell River. That's their final destination point. So we're the second to last stop. The Comox First Nation has a few issues on the go. One, we don't have any money. We don't have any people to to help out to feed these people. And so we're looking for requesting a financial contribution from the town of Comox. We're also looking at awareness of how many people are going to be down on the Dyke Road. So where the canoes are going to be landing is called the soft landing, and that landing is going to be at the end of the Goose Spit. And as the canoes all gather and assemble there, they will be making their formal welcome to the Dyke Road in front of the Comox First Nations, fronting the foreshore there in front of the administration building. So with that being said, there's going to be approximately, it's kind of all over, but it's 2,000 to 3,000 people sort of wandering around, waiting to be fed, and the canoes pulling it, and lots of people helping out, I hope. So this is going to be, so awareness of just traffic, for one thing, would be really handy. So we're trying to get a hold of traffic down on the Dyke Road, so if we can have some town of Comox people sort of understanding the top of Comox Hill going down is not going to be fun for anybody that's wanting. We're trying to get a temporary road closure just for a couple of hours because it will be chaos down there, and anybody getting stuck in that traffic won't want to. So hopefully down at the end of the bottom of Comox Hill, the Bayside Road there, hopefully that will be kind of a turning around point for people that just want to get out of there and use the back road or Leoric or wherever. With that being said, traffic that does go along the back road, if they choose to use that route, that's going to become like I live on the back road, so I know with all the road closures lately that people are just really disrespectful flying down the back road and pay no attention to. We don't have crosswalks back there and stuff, so so having fair warning about that as well. So just people. So we're looking for financial contributions. And we're looking for volunteers, and we're looking for some awareness of where the traffic, and that's going to be, they're going to be staying here for 2 days as well. So they're going to be staying at the Upper Condensery, Upper Puntledge Park, so, Upper Puntledge Indian Reserve. So once you go over the Condensery Street Bridge, they're going to be camping out on the left-hand side. So once you go over the bridge, they will be up there, stationed out there for 2 days. So yeah, it's going to be a super exciting event. It's not closed to the public either, so with that being said, I'm sure there's going to be people from the public showing up. So if there are people that want to sort of check out this amazing event, because it is really amazing when you see 60 to 70 to 80 canoes sort of pulling into Comox Harbor. It's going to be a beautiful event. Lots of people in regalia, lots of people dressed up for this event to welcome the canoes. With each canoe that's coming in, we will have formal welcomes for individual canoes that come in. So people will be coming to, from wherever they're coming from, Nanaimo, from Washington State, or wherever they travel from. And they will be on the water for up to 3 weeks at that point, some of them will only be like a day from Qualicum, a couple days from Nanaimo, and you get the idea going down to Victoria and across the Lower Mainland. So all heading to Campbell River. So that's kind of my spiel, and I'll make it short because it seems like there's a lot of things happening.
That's fine, there may be questions, however.
Yeah.
Can I help? Volunteer? Who should we contact?
Contact myself, yeah. And then we're just sort of, so this is my week of sort of gearing up and getting all the logistics out and getting her all down. So finding people. If you want to cook, contact me as well. If you want to peel vegetables, contact me as well. So until we get somebody else going on the food.
Other questions, Councillor McGinn?
Yes, I know in the past for special events like that, the RCMP with their reserves have been able to be involved with traffic. I think of traffic.
That's right, and they will be down there. They will be down there formally dressed, and they will be.
Looked into that kind
yeah, we've looked into that, so it's just a matter of sort of like letting you guys know as well that there's going to be a big traffic, and we know it's leading into the long weekend, the Philbert Festival. We know there's going to be traffic. It's there's already been traffic well around on the Dyke Road when they're slowing down for the water line, so it's going to be.
What days are you proposing road closures?
It's just for a couple hours, and it's just for the August the 2nd.
That's a Wednesday?
Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday. Is it a Wednesday?
At what time?
Probably between, so I think the high tide here is at 4, so probably anytime between like 2 and 5. 2 and 5, we can sort of get these people onto the other side of the road and sort of all hanging out on
You're
the...
talking about a complete road closure?
Well, emergency vehicles would be great if they want to pass through, I think, residential traffic. I just don't see you at the end of the day wanting to drive through like 3,000 people, that's all.
We have
I think a road
18,000
closure
cars
would
on
be...
that road on a daily basis.
I know exactly how big. I know exactly. I've grown up on
And
the
you talk to
reserve
highways
down there,
about it?
so. What's
Have
that?
you talked to highways, because they
Yeah.
control that?
Yeah. So the guy is on holidays until the 10th, so we're
They
going to be meeting with
they
him.
haven't granted that permission.
Not yet, no.
I would hope they would discuss with our staff, because that will be a major issue. I know that when it closed for the Walking the Sisters or Walking with Community,
Yeah.
for an hour, it caused mass chaos. So
Yeah. I just don't want to cause mass chaos in the event that people, it's not going to be just 1 hour, it's going to be 3 hours, and it can either be a controlled environment, which is having the RCMP, having like an actual road closure, or people just stewing away in the hot, hot sun, you know, going at the speed
that's
of
going to be a
turtles.
major issue no matter what you do. So
No matter what I do, so whatever works best is what I'm saying, but the 3,000 people and that small stretch on the Comox Reserve, because it's the only place that we can actually canoe into, and it's the only place we can get up onto the road and cross, so yeah, it would be nice to get together and discuss that, for sure.
Well, it's mainly Ministry of Highways, and they'll have to discuss with our Public Works Department, because if they want to install any kind of signage at the top of Comox Hill, they'll have to get our permission to do that.
We thank you for your support, Mayor Ives.
As far as financial support, that's something that we would have to consider, but we wouldn't normally be considering that until the next meeting, which isn't until August 2nd.
We'll take cash at any time.
I'm sure you have.
You post your budget.
We have
Bring your
a budget
budget.
in this, and of course, the budget is passed, but there will be an opportunity for council to discuss that. There's also the understanding that you receive, or will be receiving $11,000 from the regional district.
We've got great contributions from the regional district. The Rotary has kicked in. We've got people kicking in. So it'd be nice that the town of Comox, where you guys operate on our traditional territories, would be great if you guys contributed as well.
Have you looked at corporate sponsorship?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Go ahead.
It sounds like a great event. And,
It is a great event, and if you want to come and help out, or any of you, I'd be more than money right now at this point. So come, all of you. Come on. So that's
I'm
it.
glad you've been meeting Shelley, or you've met
Yeah,
with Shelley.
and we'll have another stakeholders meeting, so we will address some of where we're at, where we are at this point.
All right, thanks for the update.
Okay, thanks guys. Take care.
All right, so those are the delegations this evening. We'll deal with minutes of our approval of our regular council meeting of June 21st. Move. On approval, then all in favor? Opposed, motion carried. And for the special council meeting minutes, which was a public hearing on June 7th, approval.
Second.
Approval, then all in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to manager's report for receipt. Move receipt.
Second.
On receipt, then all in favor? Motion's carried. Councilor Arnott.
Yeah, thank you. Being on the rep for the BIA Business in Action, I was talking with a few of the members, and I see we've come up with a plan with the fish and chips wagon down there, and we're moving forward to having a fee structure. And I understand it's $50 a day, and just wondering through you to the CAO if he could explain how we can come about that and how that may compare to other communities of our size and so on.
And it's not specific to fish and chip.
No, to anyone, but we just happen to have that one down.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. We conducted some research up and down the island, and probably the most relevant comparable is in the city of Parksville. They apply for some beach vending spots in their waterfront park at $50 a day for general, and then they have a peak season rate of $160 a day. This time all we're proposing to apply is the $50 a day for this year, for the summer period. We are still working on the policy procedures manual that we managed to find a really good source of information in the city of Nanaimo. So we're working on that. Hopefully we'll be bringing that forward to council in the next meeting or two.
Okay.
And so, sorry. So with that, have we had any interest from any other groups? I can see like a little ice cream trailer hut down there. Has anybody else approached us?
We've had some interest expressed last year prior to this project breaking ground, and we asked them to check back this year, this time. And so we haven't heard anything yet, but given the increase in popularity of that area in particular, we're having a lot more people down on the waterfront. We're anticipating that we will be getting more interest, and with finally the good weather back, we should get some inquiries fairly soon.
So I see once the splash park is taking great shape now, once that opens up, I think what I'm going to do is get an ice cream bucket and a scoop and start selling ice cream that day.
You got food
And let you taste it. I do actually. Yeah. I said it first. I'll do it.
All right. I don't know. We'll go this side and back there.
This side first? Okay, just a question for our CAO, please. In the management report, items number 6, which deals with the neighborhood park in the Butcher Lazo, number 7, development costs, and number 8, traffic calming. All of these were raised, of course, at the public hearing for 1182 Lazo. I was wondering what progress, in fact, had been made thus far.
The staff are working on all 3 reports. I know that they met yesterday on the traffic calming item, which should be, we've got it scheduled for the August meeting coming forward to council, and that will tie in the other issue that was raised on Comox and Ellis, I believe, as one of the examples. And the other 2 are in progress as well. We're working with, we're using our planning student to research some of these items and kind of develop the reports. So she should have these done. They may not make the August meeting for those 2. Those may likely come forward in September. We're still trying to figure out if we can schedule them.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Swift.
My questions are around the organic waste collection. I know we were going to consider altering our schedule in the fall to coordinate with the MMBC, and I did see the annual report that came out today, but is there any update there?
Yes. I was going to mention it later on, but I'll mention it now. We have received verbal approval, if you will, from MMBC, which actually has changed its name to Disciple BC, that we will be brought on stream as of October 1st.
Okay.
I don't know if you got anything, Director of Finance, but I did put them in contact with our finance department to find a contact to sign the paperwork for that. So assuming all that happens, and then we'll look at whatever steps are necessary for implementation by October 1st. That will pretty much leave things at the status quo for the time being, but then we'll be looking as we go forward. I don't know when the garbage contract comes up for renewal, but we're looking at, with Amterra's assistance as well, as looking at some of these increased organics collection models, everything from getting bins to everything. So it'll be a work item as we go forward.
And I did have one other question, if I may. The Northeast Stormwater Management Plan, is there any update? I know the airport was hoping for something for Christmas time.
Yeah, we got that sorted, or we're getting that sorted, but as far as the other stuff, I don't know.
Yeah, the engineers are still working on the geotechnical and hydrological information required for the airport in particular. And we have been in meetings with various property owners of the Northeast corridor to kind of gauge their level of interest in proceeding with development, because we've been hearing different stories from different parties. So we're just trying to coordinate all that information and figure out what's going on in the greater sense.
But you're likely to be able to accommodate something for the airport this Christmas?
Yes.
Did you say?
Oh yeah, that's
Great.
definitely
All right, thank you.
a message that we were giving to CVAC, and I think they referenced that at the recent meetings.
Yeah.
And just a quick question, is the water park still on target for the end of the month?
It's ready to go today. Not really. Yes, we're in the point in time where the concrete has been poured. and there's a 28-day cure period required. So that's why it looks like nothing's going on, but actually the concrete is curing. So we are on target for opening, for completion end of July, opening scheduled for essentially Nautical Days weekend. So the next bit of action that you'll probably see in the park is we have to put in an additional storm drain line that'll come across our parking lot, so you'll see that work proceeding. And the playground work will continue as well.
Great. Anything else on the manager report? Seeing none, we'll move on. So, under unfinished business, second item is regarding 290 Anderson Road. That's the rezoning application, development permit application. And for consideration is approval or adoption of the zoning amendment bylaw.
Move.
Any questions on adoption? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And also for adoption, the phased development agreement authorization bylaw.
Move adoption.
Questions on adoption? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. And that issuance of the development permit, subject to conditions set out in the report.
Move.
On issuance, then all those in favor? Motion is carried. All right, moving on to the next item, which is 1182 Lazo Road, and that's page 45. Also for your consideration of adoption of the zoning amendment bylaw.
Move adoption.
Questions on adoption? Seeing none, all those in favor? Any opposed? Motion is carried. The phased development agreement bylaw that goes with that for adoption.
Move.
On adoption, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. The issuance of the development permit subject to the conditions set out in the report.
Move.
Second.
Questions? All those in favor? Motion is carried. And the development variance permit for issuance as well, subject to the conditions set out in the report.
Move.
Second.
Third.
Any questions? All those in favor? Motion is carried. All right, so that takes care of 3 new units potentially to be built at 290 Anderton Road and 19 single-family homes at 1182 Lazo Road. And that's a lot. Good work on staff and council's part in getting those through. Under special reports, we have for receipt the Regional District Board meeting minutes of June 27th.
Move.
Second.
Received them, all in favor? Motion's carried. Any questions, comments, or anything like that? Seeing none, we'll move. All those in favor? Motion's carried. And then we'll move on to the financial plan amendment bylaw. So this is for consideration of first, second, and third reading.
Move.
Second.
Okay, so discussion, this is in relation to the settlement proceeds for the sewer apportionment and also for the expenditure of up to $195,000 for the installation of storm sewer main along that portion of that road to be funded from the surplus. So that's the amendments. There's also some slight changes in the RCMP budgeting, which is the net effect of which is 0, just to transfer from RCMP to support staff funding. So any questions about any of that? Director of Finance is here.
Good news.
All right. At first, second, and third reading, all those in favor? Motion is carried. And we'll deal with adoption at our next meeting. On that. Okay, now moving to new business, we have a recommendation to council to increase the shower change room budget funding by $40,000.
I'll move that.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion. We have our rec director here. Any questions that you may have? I think the report is explanatory.
This will give us instant hot water, will it?
That's the plan.
An hour after you hit the button.
And just remind us again, the CEO to the rec director, what's the timing for completion of this project?
End of August, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Any further then? All in favor? Motion's carried. Oh, did you have a question?
Yeah, just one quick question to the director. What kind of heating source do you have there? Do we have on demand, or is it a big boiler room that we're using?
We actually have a hot water tank, and it's a mix, actually, and I'm sorry I can't explain it any further than that, but it will be, we're not going to the push button. We're actually, the customer's going to have control of their hot and cold water.
Okay.
So it's a mix.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Instead of freezing cold or...
All right, so that's been passed. Also, in the world of finance here, we're going to welcome officially to council, he's been here since yesterday at Town Hall, Clive Fruitwood. Yes. Who, with this resolution, would be appointed as a financial officer under Section 149, Director of Finance for the Town of Comox, and that he granted signing authority on behalf of the town.
I'll move that.
Second.
Does that mean we get 2 for the price of 1? Or?
For a couple months.
Your worship, we get 2 for the price of 2.
Oh.
2 for 2 for 2.
Sounds like it. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you. All those in favor? Motion's carried, so you can't get out now.
Welcome.
All right, and thank you, Director of Finance, request for staying on and showing the ropes. Okay, Nautical Days Parade Committee. This is coming out of the committee that Councilors Arnott, Swift, and Grant have been working on, and they're looking for some funding for wristbands and perhaps other things, but I'll let perhaps Councilor Arnott speak to what else might be required.
Yeah, thank you. Councillor Swift and Grant and I have been talking about this for the last few months, and the Nautical Days Parade is a pretty important part of our community, and we just wanted to kind of modernize it a little bit. Councillor Swift has come up with an idea of the plastic wristbands that would glow in the dark. We're going with those, so it would be kind of fun for the kids as nice draws, and we're proposing about $950 or so for the wristbands. For some shirts, we'd be looking at a blue button-up shirt similar to what I'm wearing in blue, and a short sleeve, and we would have just the Town of Comox crest with or without the councillor name. And we're hoping to have a banner that 2 councillors can carry, and have the other 4 councillors behind, and perhaps the mayor in front of that. Just to tighten this up a little bit over the number of years, it's been a little loosey-goosey, and I think this is an important part for the town, for us, to show our respect to the community and have a little something for the kids and the adults as we walk down the road. And so I would move the recommendation that we provide up to $2,000. I don't think we're going to be anywhere near that, but I promise you we will have a nice a nice layout of what we'll do for the parade, and we'll look pretty sharp in our blue shirts. So, I don't know about the hats.
So is there a second?
I'll second that. We'll spend it all.
Councilor McKinnon.
Yes, I am a supporter of parades and kids and excitement and that. I have a couple of questions though. Is that would this cost be something that we would incur every year?
No, this is one time only. Yeah, unless we eat too much at Christmas and the shirt shrinks a little bit, but then we'll have to.
Well, I was thinking more of the wristbands for kids.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah, once those are gone, yeah. We'll see. I guess this year is kind of a trial for us. The banner we're looking at just to keep the cost down, just a paper banner that'd probably be in the neighborhood of $50 if we get it colored. And if we think this works, then we'll get the tarp type of material with printing on that, and then we could probably buy more wristbands, bigger quantity, get it for cheaper.
And the second part of that is that the wristbands would be distributed as you walk in on the parade or down at a booth where everybody would get a chance to
toss them around, kind of like ring toss.
Okay.
And in the past, we did incur some costs for the flags that we were giving out, and I do know that past Councillor Fletcher actually paid for those one year.
So we've handed out pins.
And we handed out pins, so there has been some cost to it in the past.
I was just going to say, the wristbands, we're ordering 5,000, so it sounds like maybe a lot, but it works out to be just a little around 5 cents a band, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, and they'll have the town logo on them. It'll be white with the blue printing on them.
Yeah.
Well, if you ever throw
Randy out in those parades. 5,000 doesn't go very far. I know. we'll get-
Anything further? My only recommendation on this would be that if we're going to be getting shirts, that we should pay for those ourselves.
Okay. We'd be looking at approximately $27 a shirt, I believe it was. Call it $30 with tax.
Yeah, I mean, that's just I think that's something you would keep, obviously, and probably just pay for ourselves.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that.
Just the last comment is I wanted to really commend the committee for looking into this and acknowledging past councillors and their service to our community. I think that's a very nice touch, and that acknowledgement I think will go a long ways to those people. So I like that idea for sure. So please, my questions, don't take it wrong that I'm not supportive of this idea.
You can still wear your kilt if you.
No. Hang on, now you got to have one, I got one.
Go well with the shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's been moved and seconded with those comments. All those in favor? That's great. Okay, moving on to the application for rezoning. I think that's where we're at now, under 337 Church Street. And this is a recommendation brought forward by staff for first and second reading.
I would move that.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion at first and second? Go ahead.
Just my question that
Yes.
I've had before about, is it possible to protect a carport from being, legally stop it from being converted into an enclosed space? Is that one way we could deal with it?
Yes, we could amend the wording in the bylaw. Currently, the proposed bylaw before you would prohibit carports. Any carport would be included in the gross floor area, which is what the applicant is objecting to. You could easily word that to exclude one carport, one attached carport, maximum 20 square meters.
And then would there be a covenant to secure it from being enclosed?
The covenant, I mean, we have the ability to enforce our zoning bylaw.
Okay.
We wouldn't necessarily need the covenant. The problem that you deal with is one of finding out when it occurs so that it doesn't occur
10 years from now.
Well, yeah, that now it's a 10-year-old, and also just applicant compliance with orders to enforce the bylaw and council willingness to take enforcement action. And we were dealing with, again, single family. That's the only issue.
Councilor Kennedy.
So my understanding that is that an amendment is possible, and that would come back to council for consideration.
It would be discussed tonight at first and second reading, as right?
Yes.
So we'll deal with that in a second. We need a motion to amend
Thank you.
that section.
So that was my question is, do we need an amendment? And if we do, then I will make it.
Okay, so a motion to amend to include the wording the plenary has given us.
Yes,
Thank you for
for
that.
coach houses that we would exclude from gross floor area one carport, maximum, one attached carport, maximum 20 square meters.
Would that be specific to this application or general speaking?
I would then propose that that would be throughout the zone.
Okay.
It's applicable here, unless you wish to only view it on a case-by-case basis. If you're comfortable with it, then I would say that should be done to all.
Okay, so do we need to deal with that? We're going to give this zoning amendment bylaw first and second reading with an amendment perhaps. And then do we need another amendment for the zoning bylaw generally or no?
No.
Okay. All right, so on the amendment, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment? Motion's carried, and first and second reading as amended.
I'll move that.
Second.
Okay.
So just to be clear now, that means that anyone that wanted to do this with a carport now has the ability to do that within that
That's your
zone?
pleasure.
Is that correct?
What this means is each zone, currently, with the exception of some historical regional district zones, all coach houses require rezoning on a case-by-case basis. That would remain. What would happen is all existing coach houses that have been approved would have the allowance for a carport. And any future, this would then make it clear as well, because it would be in the regulations, that any future person, that you get an exemption for one carport.
Perfect, because I like that. I think it's a
Councilor Arnott?
Yeah, and it's dependent on the size of the lot. Like if, I know the size of the lot has to be a certain size to allow the carriage house, but they have a larger lot so they can have a carport, but a smaller lot, smaller carriage house wouldn't have a car, wouldn't be allowed a carport?
Not unless council directs us that. I would envision that whether it's, I mean, your general range is between 50 to 70. Even if you're, if I'm interpreting council's concerns right, the idea that that the unit holder, we're trying to encourage this for adaptable, or for people who are elderly to downsize, that they would all be allowed to have one attached carport.
We still have to meet setback requirements.
Still have to meet setback requirements, still have to meet
The footprint.
exemption, development permit, either get its own development permit or meet development permit design exemption criteria. Yes.
Okay.
Everyone clear?
Yeah.
Perfect.
I think
Okay.
so.
All those in favor? Motion's carried. And then we need to schedule a public hearing.
On August the 2nd, I move that.
The only question on this, we've now had, 4 approved, 3 plus this are in the hopper.
Yes.
At some point in the future, will you be bringing back to us a recommendation to dispense with the public hearings, or otherwise get rid of that requirement? Because it seems like we don't hear anybody at these gentlemen speaking.
I would, our intent was to follow the same process as the secondary suite, so now that it's become more routine and if they don't hear any objections, then our intent would start to be publishing notices of waiving of public hearing.
Okay.
And once that reinforces, then we would actually have to amend the OCP.
Sure.
We amend the OCP to remove the must be rezoned on a case-by-case basis clause, and to then allow in all zones all single-family zones, the secondary suite. Unless you wish to provide direction to forego the step above notification of waiving the public hearing.
You're going to deal with that in due course.
Yes.
Good.
Sorry, I just had a question, because I thought we were going to do this separately, about the overhang in the patio space. So are we,
Sorry, we're now
We're
setting a
past
public
that.
hearing. Yes.
yeah.
We'll
Okay.
come back to it in a sec, but we'll set
Okay.
the public hearing if you wish. Anything else on the public hearing? All in favor? Motion's carried. Greg, Councilor Swift, go ahead.
I'm looking here, this recommendation is to reduce the covered space, is that correct?
Correct. Built into the bylaw is a maximum amount of covered space of 10 square meters.
So I'm wondering if we could keep it the way it was originally and have the covenant apply to that as well.
There is no covenant.
Well, whatever mechanism we're going to, because I'm just thinking when you have a small place, you'd like to have a larger overhang, you don't have anywhere to take your patio furniture in the winter, and so on. So if we're reducing the covered space,
Yeah,
it's...
that is a separate issue for sure.
Yeah,
You're reading at the bottom of page 101.
yes.
So, provision of a minimum 15 square meters of outdoor space is a requirement. Amendment to all zones to permit a coach house to limit the roof floor area of patios and decks to 10 square meters. Maybe the planner can explain how that would apply based on what we talked about this evening.
Certainly. So the open space, non-roofed open space is not a limit. There's a minimum of 15 square meters.
Right.
When we start to get into roofed open space, 10 square meters there's a lot of bedrooms that are 10 square meters. It's like the secondary bedroom. It's 100 square feet, a little over 100 square feet. And that can be either done up, there is no minimum depth, so you can either have a quite deep area or a shallow area extending across a very large frontage. And that was deemed to balance off the desire to have some covered outdoor space and the desire to put a maximum in terms of how big these buildings' massings are. So that's where the 10 square meters came from.
So there's currently no maximum. What you're proposing is a maximum.
Correct.
Okay.
And the maximum would be 10,
Yeah.
but you think that's adequate?
Yes.
Okay. Any further concerns? Seeing none, we'll move on then. All right. So that will come to us for the public hearing on August the 2nd. Okay, so we're now at page 125, the grant application for infrastructure planning grant, and council staff are looking for authorization to proceed with that application for the Comox Avenue Glacier View Roundabout, and this is for a planning grant of up to $10,000, I think.
I'll move that.
Second?
All right, and any further discussion on that? Go ahead, Councilor Smith.
I'm just wondering, are we committed to both these roundabouts, or are we just exploring?
Well, we planned the first one, and it's subject to funding being available, which currently isn't the case. And the other one, I think, where's in their financial plan?
The Comox and Glacier View roundabout, I believe, is in 2020.
We're just getting shovel ready.
Yeah, we need design work as part of the planning aspect. We're going to require some property from Harbor Wood, and so this design work will help us establish the area that we'll need. So it's all part of the land exchange that we'll be doing.
And it is obviously somewhat contingent on development of that area as well.
Yeah, and always subject to funding as well.
Okay. Councilor McKenna?
I can just tell you that the number of citizens that I've talked to will be delighted about this, particularly ones trying to turn left off Back Road onto Comox Avenue. I think this is a very positive move, and I'm pleased to see it come.
All right, well, we'll see if we get the grant application for the design, and then we'll be shovel ready. All right, all those in favor? Motion's carried. Alrighty, the other item of new business was the late item, which hopefully you've all seen. And it is for the receipt of the annual report, and that it be available for public inspection as per section 98(1)B of the County Charter.
I'll move that.
Second.
This is generally what we do this time of year to put that forward, and we'll consider for formal adoption August 2nd. Yes. And it is, of course, for the 2016 calendar year. All right, any further questions on that? All in favor? Motion's carried. And coming back then to correspondence. So we have an email from Bart Bode regarding electric carts, so motion to receive that. Move. And on receipt then, all in favor? Motion's carried. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm wondering, I know we've tasked staff with finding a lot of information in upcoming reports and that, but I'm wondering if as winter sets in and they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs and trying to figure out what to do, if we could do a staff report on the feasibility of this, maybe talk with the people in Chase to see how it went, because I think this is until November. So maybe sometime after that, so we could get an idea of what it was like for them to have this program, because it has been allowed by the Minister of Highways, and in the past there's been some issues with it. But it'd be interesting to see where we could go with that in our community. And I know for one, myself, there is a challenge of little scooters out there driving down the middle of the road, and maybe on a big scooter, they can see them easier. So, but it's just something I think it's worth a little digging into.
I'm sure that staff can make inquiries more specifically, actually, to the Ministry of Transportation and Highways, because our infrastructure, they're the ones who are ultimately approving these things.
Right.
And I know they did look at one of the communities down, I think it's Qualicum. So that might be something that we can take under advisement. We may have an opportunity also at EDCM in September to sit down with ministry staff to see and maybe hear from people in Chase how's it going.
Yeah, that's all I asked.
Okay.
Good.
So we won't necessarily put it on the management report, but it will be something the staff can get back to us when we get more information.
Yeah.
Your Worship, just as a reminder, I think this item came up at the Vancouver Island Regional Coastal Communities Conference one year as a motion, and was defeated, if I remember correctly.
No, that was a different one. That was to do with Sydney trying to ban scooters.
Sydney.
That was more prohibitive. This is more permissive. So this is something different. That was mobility scooters. This is golf carts. And then you get into things like speed limits and things like that. And
certain roads.
There is a lot more to
There's
it.
concerns.
But that one got kiboshed mainly to do with mobility scooters, which is a little different. But yeah, there certainly was a hot topic, as we recall. Okay, so we received the email and we'll move on to another hot topic. There's been a lot of racket going on. So this is a letter from the Pickleball Association. I know everyone's read it, and we received significant correspondence from other parties to do with this issue. So at this point, a motion to receive it and potentially refer it to staff could be in order. Of course, we have at a previous council meeting referred the entire issue on pickleball facilities to the regional district. So certainly we just receive it and staff can deal with it in due course, but that's up to council's pleasure.
Well, I would move that we receive it and perhaps get an update from the regional district on where they are with this, because they are currently looking at this entire issue right now and trying to figure out what the best way to do this is. And I know this is really contentious, but it is in the works at the regional district, and we are working along. And the other thing that would be nice to know is what some of the other communities are doing with their rec facilities and stuff. I think, Mandy, you were saying Courtney was doing something.
There actually, Courtney's working on the recreation master plan, and it's just in the early stages.
So we'll receive it, motion to receive and refer it to the regional district. So that would be the motion. Second. Further discussion. I'll just say that the regional district, of course, has commissioned an indoor recreation facility report, which this isn't specific to that. There is requests contained in here about putting lines on tennis courts, obviously outdoor tennis courts. The city of Courtney has, on at least a temporary basis, looked at that. There has been some issues with that, from what I understand. The city of Courtney discussed their rec and park master plan, so there was a bit of discussion this week, but I think this letter is also being sent to the city of Courtney. And I know that the Tennis Players Association is also looking at that. The city of Courtney will probably go to their next meeting on July 17th. I guess it's fair to say that we're not planning to do anything at this moment until we hear back from the regional district and their staff. So I suppose that many people might be here in the room today to either pro or con this, to either move it or oppose it. I just wanted to say that if this recommendation passes, that we won't be doing anything in the meantime until we hear back. So everyone should maybe just step back a bit and see how it all shakes out. Go ahead.
Well, just from my perception, the good news is that pickleball has been embraced by the rec center and is in large numbers being used in an indoor facility. It's just the outdoor facility in that range of months, and we can't control the regional district. I know we referred it almost a year and a half ago there, and hopefully there'll be some consensus and some compromise that can be reached to an outdoor facility. But I'm so pleased that the numbers are large and we were able to accommodate them in our rec center.
There's also still the standing offer, if you will, from the town to look at that site up near Highland, next to the hockey box, in terms of providing space for such a facility. Of course, the cost of putting pickleball courts there is at least $150,000, which we don't have in our budget. So that might be something appropriate for the region as a whole to look at collaborating on in terms of a rec facility, and in fact everyone contributing towards. So we'll wait and see what comes back on that. There may be other sites that would be of concern as well, but that certainly is something that Comox has put on the table.
Is the regional district rec commission, are they aware that our outdoor facility at Highland is we may be open to looking at that?
A new facility, perhaps not the one that's there, which is the hockey box, but there is land there that is under lease from the school district, so it is something that's a possibility, but not within our current budget.
Yeah, and that has been brought up at the regional district, so they are aware of that. And I think the goal is to get all the communities together to put one proper facility together rather than have them little ones all over the place, or putting lines on tennis courts, which seems to be very contentious. So the goal is to get one proper facility that could work for tournaments and all sorts of other things. So that's where it's at with them, but they are aware of that.
And I know it may seem like to some, probably in this room even, that it's taking a long time. But, you know, you go back 15, 20 years ago when we looked at increasing the outdoor playing facilities in terms of fields. And at a regional basis, it took a long time to get that done. The end result was the outdoor soccer fields that we have now in place. So sometimes patience is difficult, but I know that the soccer players did work through with us on that. And as a region, we did accommodate quite a bit. And over time, we have facilitated quite a significant improvement in soccer fields across the community. So that is something to keep in perspective. Anything else? Go ahead.
Just a question that I would have with regard to the timing of all of this. I understand, and I can't remember the date, I didn't have it written down, but I have a feeling someone knows. There's an anniversary or a celebration coming up in August, is there not?
August 12th.
On the 12th. Is there anything that we can do to accommodate that? I understand certainly that the regional district has a plan afoot and we don't want to rush that, but at the same time, if we could accommodate that, it would be...
I think Courtney's made some accommodations already for that.
Have they?
Yes, that event will be in Courtney.
Oh, it will. Okay, fine. That's good.
Good news. Okay, anything further? Seeing none, so on the motion to receive and refer it to the regional district for further updates, all those in favor? Opposed, motion's carried. All right, so that deals with the second item of correspondence. The third item is from the Natural Society, permission to use the town's logo related to a booklet.
I would move proceedings to this. The question, I guess, that I would have is there any issues with them using our logo, or?
Well, let's see if it's seconded first.
Okay,
I'll second it.
All right, go ahead. So I'm just wondering if there would be any legal issues or issues in any way with them. I mean, I don't have any problem with it, unless it's a problem some other way. I don't
I
think.
think they've used it in the past. So
Yeah, all right. Well, I move this. I'm good with it.
okay, anything further on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion's carried. So we have a public hearing coming up at 6:30, so a motion to it, sorry.
Before you do that, Your Worship, just acknowledge Randy.
Right, thank you. So, talking about retirements, our rec director is going to be retiring in approximately a month. So, we wish you all the best. I know family reasons are a priority for you now, and we wish you all the best in that regard. And thank you for your leadership at the rec center, especially during the transition time with all the renovations. And we weren't going to let you go until the washrooms are done, but I guess we'll let you go on the basis that they're...
That 40,000 is going to the washroom, not to her. No, right? Okay.
So, thank you for your service, and we look forward to seeing you around. All right, so we'll have a brief adjournment and reconvene to the public hearing at 6:30. Thereabouts, so motion to adjourn to that.
Second.
Favor?